First contact fallout. The orbital alert klaxon jolted Captain Darius Nema awake, its urgent wail cutting through the silence of his quarters aboard the EDF Vigilant. A quick glance at his neural interface confirmed what he already suspected: this wasn't a drill. ASTRA, situation report, he commanded, his voice still rough with sleep as he pulled on his uniform. The ship's AI materialized beside his bed, her holographic form pulsing with amber warning signals. Captain, we have multiple unknown vessels appearing at the edge of our solar system. Size and configuration unlike anything in our database. Their approach vector suggests deliberate intercept with Earth. Darius felt his heart rate quicken, but decades of military discipline kept his expression neutral. How many? 317 confirmed signatures. The largest measures approximately 12 kilometers in length. 12 kilometers? Darius whispered. The largest Earth vessel was barely 2 kilometers. Alert General Command. All EDF vessels to defensive positions. Already done, Captain. General Okafor has ordered all hands to battle stations. You're requested on the bridge immediately. The corridors of the Vigilant hummed with controlled chaos as crew members rushed to their stations. When Darius reached the bridge, the main viewscreen displayed a terrifying sight: massive obsidian vessels shaped like elongated diamonds, their surfaces rippling with what appeared to be liquid metal. General Vivian Okafor, her silver-streaked hair pulled back in a severe bun, nodded curtly as he entered. Captain Nema. The visitors have identified themselves as the Voidborn Collective. They're demanding to speak with Earth's leadership. What do they want? The general's expression darkened. Our quantum technology. All of it. They've given us 6 hours to prepare a complete transfer of all research, prototypes, and scientists. Or what? Or they'll reset this world to its primordial state, whatever that means. Darius studied the vessels on the display. Earth had been developing its defense fleet for decades, but nothing they had could match this show of force. Have we made contact with the other coalition worlds? Communications are being jammed beyond our solar system, ASTRA interjected, her holographic form materializing over the command table. The Voidborn are using some form of quantum disruption field we can't penetrate. General Okafor's neural interface pulsed with an incoming message. The Security Council is convening an emergency session. Captain, you're with me. Your experience with first contact protocols may be useful. 30 minutes later, Darius stood in a vast chamber beneath the United Earth Government headquarters in Geneva. Representatives from all Earth nations and colony worlds sat in grim silence as holographic projections displayed the Voidborn ships now in high Earth orbit. They've shared nothing about themselves except their name and their demands, said President Thabo Mbeki, his usually commanding voice subdued. Their technology is clearly centuries beyond ours. Yar. Nico Vestri, Earth's leading quantum physicist, leaned forward. With his wild gray hair and intense eyes, he looked more like an artist than the architect of humanity's quantum revolution. Giving them our quantum tech would be surrendering our only advantage. Our conventional weapons can't touch them, but our quantum systems might. Might isn't good enough when the alternative is extinction, countered Director Fong of the Asian Confederation. I vote we comply, buy ourselves time. The debate raged for another hour before President Mbeki raised his hand for silence. We will appear to comply. Begin a visible preparation for the technology transfer. Meanwhile, initiate Operation Checkmate. He turned to Darius. Captain Nema, you're our best infiltration specialist. We need eyes inside their command vessel. Darius felt the weight of billions of lives settle on his shoulders. Yes, sir. When do I leave? Immediately. The transfer team will provide your cover. The Voidborn shuttle was unlike any craft Darius had ever seen. From the outside, it appeared solid, but the interior walls pulsed with what seemed like living circuitry. His neural implant, disguised as basic medical tech, recorded everything while ASTRA ran constant analysis through the encrypted link. Fascinating, whispered Dr. Julian Reed beside him, one of Earth's prominent quantum engineers chosen for the transfer team. Their technology seems to blend biological and mechanical elements seamlessly. Darius kept his expression neutral, playing the role of security escort. In reality, Reed and the other 5 scientists were also military intelligence, each carrying specialized equipment disguised as scientific instruments. The shuttle docked with the Void-born mothership, a colossal structure that dwarfed everything around it. They were escorted by tall, humanoid figures covered in what appeared to be liquid metal exoskeletons that shifted and rippled with their movements. "Welcome," said their escort, its voice oddly melodic despite coming from a featureless head. "Supreme Commander Zorax awaits." The central chamber of the mothership was a vast space with viewing portals that displayed Earth in stunning clarity. Standing before the largest portal was a figure taller than the others, its exoskeleton a deep crimson that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Humans," the figure spoke without turning. "I am Zorax of the Void-born Collective. You have something we desire." Dr. Reed stepped forward with practiced humility. "Supreme Commander, we've brought preliminary data and are prepared to begin the technology transfer as demanded." Zorax finally turned, revealing a face with 4 glowing eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. "Good. Your compliance will make this transition efficient." While the scientists engaged Zorax in carefully rehearsed dialogue about quantum principles, Darius activated his neural implant stealth subroutines. To any monitoring systems, he would appear to be standing attentively beside the scientists, while in reality, ASTRA was projecting a perfect holographic duplicate as he slipped away. The ship's interior was a maze of corridors that seemed to reconfigure themselves subtly. Using the specialized equipment embedded in his uniform, Darius collected data on ship systems, power fluctuations, and most importantly, potential weaknesses. "ASTRA," he sub-vocalized, "are you getting this?" "Affirmative," came the AI's voice directly in his mind. "Their biomechanical systems are sophisticated but show peculiar vulnerabilities to certain quantum frequencies. Specifically, they seem to wait, anomalous energy readings detecting throughout the vessel." "Captain, something's happening." Before Darius could respond, the ship trembled slightly. Through a nearby viewing port, he witnessed a horrifying sight, dozens of smaller void-born vessels descending toward Earth's surface, weapons ports opening. "No," he whispered. "They're striking already." The negotiations were a diversion. He raced back toward the central chamber, arriving just in time to see Zorax gripping Dr. Reed by the throat. "Did you think we wouldn't detect your true intentions?" the Void-born commander's voice boomed. "Your leaders activate weapons systems while pretending to negotiate. The collective does not tolerate deception." On the viewing screens, beams of intense energy sliced through Earth's atmosphere, targeting major cities. Geneva disappeared in a flash of light, followed by Beijing, New York, Lagos. "Stop," shouted Reed, struggling against the impossible grip. "We were complying." "No," Zorax replied coldly. "You were stalling. Now you will watch as your civilization burns." Darius remained hidden, forcing himself to stay silent as his homeworld burned. The other scientists were seized by void-born guards, but in the chaos, no one had noticed his absence. "Captain," Astra's voice was urgent in his head. "I've analyzed their weapons systems. The energy signatures match exactly with fluctuations I detected in their biomechanical interfaces. Their weapons are extensions of themselves, and they share the same vulnerability. The quantum frequency," Darius realized. "Can we exploit it?" "Yes, but not from here. I need access to Earth's quantum network. Then I need to get back." Darius watched as the scientists were dragged away. "Find me an escape route." Detecting shuttle preparations in Bay 4. "It appears they're sending ground forces to secure key infrastructure." "Perfect." Moving through the ship like a ghost, Darius made his way to the shuttle bay. The Void-born, convinced of their absolute victory, had reduced internal security as they focused on the assault. Using techniques perfected over decades of covert operations, he slipped aboard one of the descent craft, concealing himself within a compartment meant for equipment. As the shuttle plunged toward Earth's atmosphere, Darius connected his neural implant to its systems, downloading critical information about the Void-born fleet. Cities burned below him, massive destruction visible even from orbit. But he also detected something the Void-born had missed: underground facilities activating, their signatures masked by the chaos above. Operation Checkmate was proceeding. The shuttle landed amidst the ruins of what had once been Rio de Janeiro. As Void-born troops disembarked, Darius slipped away, making contact with the nearest underground resistance point, a quantum communications node hidden beneath the old university. "This is Captain Yima," he transmitted once inside the secure facility. "Authorization Zulu Tango 95. I have critical intel on the enemy." The response came immediately from General Okafor herself, broadcasting from the secret command center beneath the Antarctic ice. "Report, Captain. The Void-born share a biological connection with their technology. Astra detected a specific quantum frequency that disrupts their systems. I'm uploading the data now." There was a brief pause before Okafor's voice returned, now laced with something Darius hadn't heard from her before: hope. "This confirms Dr. Vestry's theory. Captain, get to extraction point Echo. We're activating the Reckoning Protocol." "What about the population, General?" "The casualties. Lower than they appear, Captain. The evacuation protocols worked better than we let the enemy believe. Now it's time to show these Void-born that humanity doesn't just fight wars, we end them." As Darius emerged from the bunker into the smoke-filled dusk of what remained of Rio, he looked up at the massive Void-born ship silhouetted against the burning sky. They thought they'd won, that humanity was broken. They were about to learn their mistake. Above him, tiny lights began to rise from hidden facilities worldwide, millions of them, like fireflies ascending into the gathering darkness. The first wave of humanity's response was airborne, invisible to the Void-born sensors, designed to exploit the very weakness Darius had discovered. Operation Checkmate had begun. The Reckoning Protocol. Dr. Nico Vestry hadn't seen natural sunlight in 3 months. The Antarctic Command Center, buried 2 kilometers beneath the ice, had become both sanctuary and laboratory for Earth's most brilliant scientific minds. Illuminated by the blue glow of quantum displays, his weathered face looked ghostly as he monitored the deployment of Operation Checkmate's first phase. "Nanite swarms Alpha through Echo have achieved orbital insertion," reported Lieutenant Imani Okoro, her fingers dancing across holographic controls. "All units operating within parameters." Nico nodded, stroking his unkempt beard. "And the Void-born have detected nothing?" "Confirmed," said General Okafor, stepping into the circular command center. "Their sensors are calibrated for conventional threats, energy signatures, mass concentrations, radiation. Our quantum-shifted nanites are effectively invisible to them." On the main display, a 3-dimensional representation of Earth orbit showed the massive Void-born vessels, over 300 of them, maintaining position as smaller craft continued the planet's systematic devastation. Superimposed over this grim scene were billions of tiny green dots representing the nanite swarms, now surrounding each enemy ship like microscopic predators circling their prey. "Has Captain Yima reached extraction point Echo?" Nico asked, not taking his eyes off the display. "Yes," the general replied. "His intel confirms everything you theorized. The Void-born aren't just using their technology, they're symbiotically connected to it. Their ships are extensions of themselves. Which makes them vulnerable in ways they never anticipated," Nico finished. He straightened his lab coat, a habit from his university days that persisted even in this military environment. "It's time to initiate Phase 2. Lieutenant, activate the synchronization protocols." Aboard the Void-born mothership, Supreme Commander Zorak stood before the command nexus, absorbing data directly through his biomechanical interface. The conquest of Earth was proceeding efficiently. Resistance had crumbled faster than anticipated, with only scattered pockets fighting a futile guerrilla campaign. Status report, he commanded, his 4 eyes scanning the neural feeds. Second Commander Vex's liquid metal form shimmered as he approached. 83% of major population centers neutralized. Resource extraction teams have secured 17 quantum research facilities. However, we've discovered that many of their most advanced systems were already evacuated before our arrival. Zorax's outer membrane rippled with irritation. The humans knew we were coming. Unlikely, Supreme Commander. Our approach was perfectly concealed. More probable is that they detected us only hours before our ultimatum and enacted emergency protocols. Impressive efficiency for such a primitive species, Zorax mused. Have you interrogated the captured scientists? They resist conventional methods. Their neural structures differ from previously conquered species. However, we have extracted partial data suggesting a secondary defense network we haven't yet located. Zorax absorbed this information with growing unease. The Voidborn Collective had conquered 17 galactic civilizations in their expansion, and none had shown such organized resistance in the face of overwhelming force. Intensify the ground assault, he commanded. Find their remaining command structures and... His orders were interrupted by a strange sensation, a subtle vibration that seemed to resonate through his biomechanical systems. Around him, other Voidborn officers paused, experiencing the same discomfort. Supreme Commander, Vex began, his voice distorting slightly, our biosensors are detecting microscopic anomalies throughout the ship's systems. Analyze and neutralize, Zorax ordered, dismissing the concern. Primitive human countermeasures couldn't possibly threaten Voidborn technology. How terribly wrong he was. Captain Darius Nima crouched in the ruins of what had once been Santiago's financial district, surrounded by a small but lethal team of Earth's most elite soldiers. Each wore exoskeleton combat suits that enhanced their strength and speed while masking their life signs from Voidborn sensors. Command confirms the nanite swarms have achieved full integration with Voidborn systems, reported Lieutenant Commander Tomas Reyes, his Chilean accent still noticeable despite years of international service. Dr. Vestry is initiating the synchronized attack in 3 minutes. Darius checked his quantum rifle, a prototype weapon developed specifically for this conflict. Remember, once the Reckoning Protocol activates, we'll have a narrow window to strike. The Voidborn ground forces will experience the same disruption as their ships, but it won't last long. They'll adapt. The team of 12 nodded grimly. Each had lost family or friends in the initial attack. This wasn't just a military operation, it was personal. For Earth, Darius said simply. For Earth, they echoed. His neural implant chimed with a direct message from Antarctic Command, protocol activated. Engage. Above them, invisible to normal sight but clearly visible through their tactical visors, billions of quantum-shifted nanites simultaneously changed frequency. What followed defied conventional physics. The nanites didn't just attack the Voidborn systems, they rewrote them. Aboard the mothership, chaos erupted. Supreme Commander. Vex's voice was distorted, his liquid metal form losing cohesion. The anomalies, they're everywhere. They've penetrated our biocircuitry. Zorax felt it himself, a billion microscopic invaders synchronizing with the quantum frequency that underpinned all Voidborn technology. The sensation was excruciating, like having every cell in his body simultaneously violated. Isolate. Recalibrate, he roared, but the command nexus was already failing, holographic displays shattering into incoherent fragments. Throughout the massive fleet, Voidborn vessels began to drift from their perfect formations as control systems failed. Some smaller craft plummeted toward Earth's atmosphere, their propulsion systems inverted. Others turned their weapons upon sister ships, firing devastating salvos at point-blank range. Zorax fought to maintain control, drawing upon emergency protocols developed over millennia of collective expansion. All vessels. Purge systems and revert to autonomous function. But the command never transmitted. The quantum communication network that bound the fleet together had become a liability, a perfect delivery system for the human counterattack. For the first time in his long existence, Supreme Commander Zorax felt fear. On Earth's surface, void-born ground forces suddenly froze mid-stride, their exoskeletons locking as the quantum disruption cascaded through their neural networks. Darius and his team wasted no time, emerging from cover to engage the paralyzed enemy. Target their central nodes, Darius ordered, firing his quantum rifle at a void-born commander. The weapon didn't fire conventional projectiles, but rather concentrated bursts of precisely calibrated quantum energy that shattered the biomechanical connections within the alien systems. The effect was devastating. The commander collapsed, its liquid metal exoskeleton dissolving into inert puddles. Similar scenes played out globally as hidden resistance cells emerged from underground bunkers and concealed mountain bases. Humanity had appeared beaten, but it had merely been gathering strength for a synchronized counterstrike. Darius's neural implant relayed strategic updates from Antarctic Command, orbital forces reporting 60% effectiveness. Void-born fleet in disarray. Ground resistance exceeding projections. General Okafor, Darius sub-vocalized as his team secured their sector, request permission to join the strike team for mothership infiltration. The response came immediately, permission granted, Captain. Rendezvous at coordinates being transmitted. Dr. Vestry will personally brief the team. In the Antarctic Command Center, Nico Vestry monitored the galactic-scale chessboard with quiet satisfaction. The Voidborn had never faced an enemy that understood their fundamental nature, until now. Nanite effectiveness dropping to 42%, Lieutenant Okoro reported. They're adapting as predicted. They would, Nico nodded. But not quickly enough. He turned to General Okafor. It's time for Phase 3. The general's expression was grim. You're certain? Once initiated, we can't reverse it. The Voidborn came to steal our quantum technology, Nico replied. Let's show them exactly what it can do. General Okafor entered her command authorization, unlocking the final stage of Operation Checkmate. May God help us all. On the quantum secure channel, she transmitted the code that activated dormant systems hidden within the nanite swarms, initiate consciousness transference protocol. Captain Yima and his strike team approached the crippled mothership in a captured Voidborn shuttle. Through the viewports, they witnessed the destruction spreading through the once mighty fleet, vessels colliding, weapons firing indiscriminately, escape pods jettisoning in panic. Look at that, whispered Lieutenant Commander Reyes. They're turning on each other. Not exactly, Darius replied, understanding now what Dr. Vestry's final phase entailed. The nanites aren't just disrupting their systems, they're rewriting their collective consciousness. The shuttle docked with the mothership, its automated systems still recognizing the craft as friendly despite the chaos engulfing the fleet. When they disembarked, they found corridors filled with disoriented Voidborn, many collapsed or fighting invisible enemies. They're experiencing cognitive disconnect, explained Dr. Vestry's voice through their neural links. The transference protocol is uploading a simulated reality directly into their neural interfaces, making them experience what Earth felt during their attack. The team moved efficiently through the vessel, encountering minimal resistance. Most Voidborn they encountered were lost in hallucinatory states, fighting phantoms or frozen in catatonic terror. Central Command Nexus ahead, Darius informed the team as they approached massive doors engraved with symbols representing the 17 conquered civilizations that comprised the collective. Be advised, Dr. Vestry's voice cautioned, Supreme Commander Zorax has partially shielded himself from the protocol. Expect resistance. The doors parted to reveal a chamber in chaos. Voidborn officers moved erratically, some attacking consoles, others huddled in corners. At the center stood Zorax, his crimson exoskeleton now streaked with black fractures, 4 eyes blazing with fury. Humans, he hissed upon seeing Darius. What have you done? Darius stepped forward, quantum rifle lowered but ready. We defended ourselves. Nothing more. Impossible. Zorax roared. Your world was primitive, vulnerable. Our intelligence confirmed it. Your intelligence was incomplete, Darius replied calmly. You saw our visible technology, our spacecraft, our weapons, our communications. You never detected our quantum network because you weren't looking for it. The collective has conquered 17 civilizations. Zorax's voice distorted with rage and degrading systems. And each time, you attacked worlds that displayed their strength openly, Darius continued, moving closer. Earth learned a different lesson from our history. The truly powerful don't need to display their strength. Zorax lunged suddenly, his arm extending into a blade of liquid metal. Darius sidestepped with enhanced reflexes, firing his quantum rifle in a precise burst. The shot connected with Zorax's central neural cluster, sending him crashing to the deck. The collective will return, Zorax gasped, his systems failing. Others will come. Tell them what you found here, Darius replied. Tell them that Earth doesn't seek conquest, but we will defend ourselves. Thoroughly. He placed a quantum beacon on the command nexus, the final component of Operation Checkmate. Dr. Vestry, we're ready for extraction. Beacon is active. Acknowledged, Captain, came the scientist's voice. Stand by for full spectrum transference. The beacon pulsed, establishing a direct quantum link with Antarctic Command. Through this connection, the complete transference protocol activated, not just a simulated experience, but a fundamental rewriting of the Voidborn collective consciousness. As Darius and his team were extracted via emergency quantum shift, the mothership systems came back online, not under Voidborn control, but under human direction. Throughout the fleet, the same transformation occurred as Earth assumed command of the very armada sent to destroy it. 3 months later, Captain Darius Nima stood on the observation deck of the renamed Earth vessel Resilience, formerly the Voidborn mothership. Beside him, Dar. Nico Vestry watched as the massive fleet prepared for departure. The Terran Accord is officially recognized by 14 former Voidborn subject worlds, Nico reported. They're eager to establish relations with the civilization that liberated them. And the Voidborn themselves? Darius asked. The consciousness reintegration is proceeding as planned. They retain their memories but without the hierarchical imperatives that drove their expansion. Most have requested asylum on their original homeworld. The view from the observation deck showed a very different Earth than 3 months prior. The devastation remained visible, but reconstruction was proceeding at remarkable speed, aided by repurposed Voidborn technology. More importantly, humanity had shed its isolation, emerging as a unifying force in a previously fractured galactic community. We should have destroyed them completely, General Okafor said, joining them at the viewport. After what they did to us. Nico shook his head. Then we would have become exactly what they were. The Voidborn's mistake wasn't attacking us, Darius added. It was assuming that technological advancement meant the same thing to us as it did to them. They built weapons, we built connections. Below them, Earth continued its recovery, its cities rising again from the ashes. But this time, humanity expanded with the wisdom earned through fire and loss, not as conquerors like the Voidborn, but as architects of something entirely new. The silent counterstrike had ended one chapter of human history and begun another. As the repurposed fleet prepared to depart for the stars, carrying ambassadors rather than warriors, Darius knew that the galaxy would never be the same. Neither would humanity. Ready, Captain? General Okafor asked. Darius nodded, turning from the viewport. Navigation, set course for the Centauri Accord meeting. Let's introduce ourselves to the neighborhood, properly this time. The massive vessel hummed with power as it broke orbit, leading a fleet that had once come to end humanity but would now extend its hand across the stars.